Hello, welcome back to Blender Sushi LiveNoding. In this episode, we're gonna try a new nodes for animation nodes. It's called this bone info nodes. This is actually fairly new, and I'm still testing it. Actually, still kind of wondering what these nodes can do. And yeah, currently I'm using it with the animation nodes loop and stuff. But you can also use the vectorized version. But anyway, before I get started with this, I will show you. This is where I got the motion capture data, and I try to find the BVH one because it works really well with Blender. So there are plenty of BVH you can download, but this is pretty good. It has some like figure swagger, handspring. Let's for this one, let's try the run. I'm gonna download it. So this is going to be the BVH data. Have a look. Oh, let's open it up. Unzip it. Okay, apparently it's this one. Okay, put it on the desktop and switch to Blender, and let's start from scratch. If I'm not wrong, BVH often comes as 60 frames per second, but Blender by default is 24. I'm not sure if I need to change it, but I will change it anyway. So file, import BVH Motion Capture Data, and I'll go to desktop. So, okay, I have Swagger one and Eric. Okay, import BVH. There's actually like FPS option here that you can scale and then change the orientation and whatnot. Okay, cool. So this one seems to be working. Okay, nice. And I'll save this real quick. This is animation nodes, bone info, first test. So yeah, we have our bones, and you know that in Blender, if you go to edit modes of the bone, you get the bone at the rest pose, the original position. This is where you do the skinning for your skin if you have your mesh data. But anyway, for now, we're gonna play around with the bone data itself and how animation nodes can just quickly look at the bone position and instance some objects on it. Okay, let's get started. Animation nodes, I'll turn off always and turn on everything else. And I'm gonna use bone info right away. So there are few bones, so the bone animation data also. So this is interesting. I haven't checked this out yet, but for now we're just gonna look at the bones and parent some instant objects to it. Should be pretty basic. I'll get the armature, which is called Eric R1, and I will observe so there is this option for the rest pose, the rest state and the pose state. We're gonna select the pose one, that's the one with animation motion capture data. And we have this option for the matrices and then the center of the bone, direction, length. I guess it's pretty intuitive actually. If I'm not wrong, if we just use object instancer and let's use icosphere for now, just basic icosphere, just load it into animation nodes and let's leave everything. I'm gonna plug in the matrix data into the instance so it knows the length, the number of matrices coming out from this guy. And then here I will use the either object transform output or matrix output. So matrix output is more advanced. You can simply plug in the matrices, the transform information into this guy, and it should generally just work. I think it is working, and our sphere is actually jump into it right away. With the matrices, I actually still not familiar with the matrices yet. Sometimes I've forgot how to do things. I mean, with object transform output, we have location, rotation, and scaling. With this guy, I don't know how to do it, so I tend to use just object transform output. For beginners, this is actually good. So with this guy, we're gonna activate the locations, get the bone position from the center, and we're gonna scale our instance objects. So that's how I do it. And there you go. We have our icosphere for every bone location. It is actually that simple and very intuitive, and I guess yeah, I think it's really cool. If maybe I give it some color just for fun. For now, is that we can observe the motion capture data. Normally, bone is of course not renderable, but if you have instant object now, you can simply render it out. So that's very cool. We haven't observed the rotations and orientation of the bone yet. I don't know. Maybe I should try with Suzanne. So I'll use Suzanne instead of icosphere, and by default, everything is like all Suzanne head is facing the orientation of the original head, but I think we can use these rotations and plug in the directions. I don't know if this actually works. Okay, the rotation in the animation node is not yet vectorized, unfortunately. So we either need to use looping or yeah, I think we need to do it inside a loop, unfortunately, but I'll do that in the next one, I guess. Don't worry about rotation for now. Let's see. Let's go back to Susan head. Let's try giving it a color. And I'm gonna turn on object color. Let's see if this guy working right away. It doesn't work right away. We need to reset this object instance. And my computer seems to be frozen. Oh well, I really shouldn't update to macOS High Sierra yet. But anyhow, yeah, I was thinking to give some color for each of the Susan head. You already know how to do it. Actually, what I was trying to do is to reset the object instance, and then for each object, I give it like a random color using the hue saturation value. So anyway, we take a quick look at the bone info nodes, and we can place instant objects for every bone position, the post bone, and yeah, it's actually pretty easy for this simple setup. Animation nodes make it really easy for this, and yeah, we're gonna come back to this on the next video, I guess. Yeah, sorry about this. It's seems to be frozen somehow. I can try restarting it. I kind of hate have to stop in the middle, but this is live noding, you know, it happens. Let's reopen Blender real quick, and instead of Susan head, I will just use the icosphere. Bone first test. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll just gonna use icosphere, but I'm gonna give it a material first. Material, object color on. Get our objects. Okay, it's assigned now. This is what I was talking about. I want to give a color, so I'm gonna use object set. Object set, is that object set? No, it's an object attribute in animation nodes, because I'm using both animation nodes and sphere chalk. Sometimes this confuses me a little bit. Oh, wow, so it's frozen again. But anyway, you plug these objects, and the value you put in some random color, and for these attributes you just type in color, and you should be able to colorize each and every sphere. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Sorry about the frozen part, but you give it a try yourself, and yeah, see, I'll do the same thing in the next live loading. Thanks again for tuning in. I'll see you in the next